We better that you come on the stage. Can you please sit down? Thank you. Oh, you have microphone.
Prova. Sit down, please. Sit down. Welcome. A lot of people, eh? In piedi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will become very nervous if you don't sit down. Gianfranco is very nervous. Thank you, and welcome to our AIPS Congress. For those of you who were with us from 3 o'clock, it was very interesting because Mr. Alexander Cheferin was with us. Hope that all of you get something new from him because he's a very interesting man. But now we have to start with our Congress which will last today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Very important Congress for us because it is election Congress, and we will pick the new members of not only Continental, but also the AIPS. First of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Gianfranco Coppola as our host and his association, USSC, because they were very good, they were splendid. Thank you, Gianfranco. And I will give him a floor. Thank you, Gianfranco.
Thank you. It's not finished, of course. Thank you. Dear colleague, dear friend, everyone, welcome to Italy. The last time was in 1951, 71 years ago. It's very important moment, the first Congress after pandemic situation, hand in hand together for IPS, our IPS. Our colleagues, little bit silence in the first, thank you. Is a very important opportunity for the Italian Association of Sport Journalists. It was founded 75 years ago. And this opportunity, I speak as word important for Gianni Merlo, our president, IPS. In the future president of IPS. Because I invite to the stage the president of Sport and Salute Department Governing of Italy for the promotion of the sport, President Vito Cozzoli, our friend. Tomorrow in Stadio Olimpico, a good trip, a good travel opportunity. Stadium and food also is good, very nice.
Good afternoon, welcome in Rome. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you to Gianfranco Coppola and to Gianni Merlo for this invitation. Buonasera a tutti, io sono molto...
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy and I'm proud to be here with you at this Congress, this international Congress that gathers you all together. Welcome to Rome. Welcome to the capital of Italian sport, but also the capital of world sports, because Sport e Salute, the state company that promotes sports, the company that hosts the Olympic Stadium of the Foro Italico, where so many competitions take place. We're very proud to have you here in Rome. And I am here not so much to welcome you, but to thank you. to thank you because without sports journalism, sports would not have a voice, would not have a color, would not have an emotion, passion, because you are a fundamental piece of the sports world. Press has a huge role because not only you tell us of the emotions that make us happy, but you also give a great proof of responsibility as well as witnessing sports events. And I can say that over the last month, sports has been recounted not just as an sports event, but also as an instrument for moral collective growth. I saw it last year at the Paralympics when the front pages of newspapers, where the news were full of recounts of these huge sports stories. And this is fundamental for us because Sport e Salute has a double soul, an industrial soul, that of sports events. We have organized 19 important sports events all over Italy, but mainly at the Foro Italico, the ATP, the Piazza di Siena, the swimming championships. I could go on forever. But most of all, we have a social soul, which means promoting sports for all and by all. We are not the only word, not just we are the reality where the state has taken on all the policies in matters of lifestyle. This is something that is done also in the UK, in Australia. So legislators in 2018 deemed it necessary for Sport e Salute as a state company must have a role in this sense, but we want to leave it also with you that are there telling us the sports stories, but also life stories. And today, let me tell you maybe a few more articles. Go write some more articles. It is important to tell the victories of champions, but also you must recount the lives of behind sport, including grassroots sports. And I praise you because I share the values that you are all discussing together. I think about resilience, empowerment, inclusion, accessibility for everyone. This is the philosophy of Sport e Salute, promoting the right to sports in our country. And so I am happy to welcome you in Rome. Tomorrow evening you will be at the Stadio Olimpico. We will be there. I really hope you will have a lovely experience in terms of sports, because up to a year ago, nobody had thought of telling from the emotional, technological perspective the Stadio Olimpico. We supporters have been in stadiums all over the world, just visiting the stadium itself. Now you can do this at the Stadio Olimpico too, and this will be an amazing experience. I hope you will be able to tell it to your readers, so that all the tourists that come to Rome can also enjoy the beauty, the emotion of a stadium that has marked the story of sports. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you do for the sports world, but also for the whole community, for the common good. Thank you, and have a lovely day ahead.
A little celebratory pennant for you. Tomorrow morning on the field, the Olympic Stadium competition penalty for us. Penalty from 11 meters. We won. Dov'è la Beltrone? Ah, di qua. Ok. Gianni, vuoi salire per questa premiazione?
No, te la riserva.
Ecco. Grazie. Grazie Presidente. Grazie, grazie. Thank you. Thank you. Now I invite Gianni Merlo, the President AIPS, and Raffaele Chiulli. The time available is short, fast. Welcome to Gianni Merlo in Italy.
Sorry, I'm here now because we are invented in every moment. We have an invention because it was not planned as this, so we go live. And I think that this is the virus of Naples because it comes from the south. And we have a virus, we tested positive, and so now we are here. Raffaele is the president of AIPS. First of all, what is AIPS? A-R.
Well, I guess. Give me
of course.
AIPS is basically the association of all the international sport federations recognized by the International Olympic Committee. And today we are the largest family within the umbrella organization of the Olympic movement. So we have 42 members. There are already Olympic sport. You all know that in Tokyo 2020, in 2021, for the obvious reason, we had 5 new sports like skateboarding, like sport climbing, surfing, karate, baseball, and softball. These are AIPS sport. But I'm sure, Gianni, that they also know that in Paris 2024, Summer Olympic Games, there will be a new sport, break dancing. And in Milano Cortina, which is an AIPS federation, World Dance Federation, there will be also an additional winter sport, which is ski mountaineering. It's a new sport, already tested at the Youth Olympic Games in Lausanne 2020. So AIPS basically is witnessing the changes in the society, which are reflected in the changes within the Olympic movement and within the world of sport in general. Did I answer the question?
Yes, we can see also there is a slide. Next slide. These are the members of AIPS, no?
Yes.
Climbing, cricket. There is also cricket that is quite strong. The flying disc, you know, is something that we were playing when we were kids in the courtyard. Kickboxing, korfball.
Well, we have cluster of...
Tug of war. No, what I have never seen is tug of war. What is tug of war?
It's with a very special rope, and there are 2 teams that is a pure, let's say, competition of strength. But basically the message here is empowering sport diversity. What does it mean? It means that we have so many different sports. Think about motorsport. We have all the motorsport here, from Formula One, which is the FIA, MotoGP, which is the FIM, International Motorcycling Federation. We have Aerosport with the FIA, or UIM, Unione Internazionale Motonautique, of which I have the privilege to be the president of, and my honorary president is Prince Albert of Monaco, which is pushing me to continuously do good things and sustainable things. You have also the cluster of mind sport. You know, when you think about, for example, chess or other mind sport, we have artistic sport, world dance, breaking. So I don't want to bother you, but really the enrichment here is in diversity of the sport, the popularity of the sport. Today, 1.3 billion people around the globe practice an AIPS sport discipline. They cannot be wrong. But also, I had the privilege until a few months ago to be the president of GAISF. GAISF is the Global Association of International Sport Federation. which is 128 federation, Olympic, Summer Olympic, Winter Olympic, recognized by the IOC, non-recognized by the IOC Federation, etc. And for me, this was an amazing experience. I was president for about 3 years, and then there is a rotation system that, as it is fair, that now the president of the International Association of Olympic Winter Sport took over. But this was an amazing experience, really learning and sharing the very nice things about sport.
I must say that if you go on the list of the sport that we have for now, no hope to go to the Olympic are the motorsport and the mine sport.
Which is not true, because
right
it
now, means that Olympic will fall down.
It's not true, because as you well know, Gianni, and we discussed this, Los Angeles 2028, there is a motorsport discipline within the FIA community, which is ideally electric karting, which was already a showcase in 2018 Buenos Aires Youth Olympic Games, when President Bach and Jean Todt, the president of at that time of the FIA, they experienced what it means, the mobility of the future, sustainable mobility. Society is changing, and motorsport, sorry to say, but I'm very convinced about that, is an amazing laboratory where you can test new technologies, low emission, sustainable mobility, the mobility of the future. So if it is true, as it is true, that the sport has to bridge the gap with the society, motorsport has not to be excluded. And the best practices coming out of motorsport should be used in our daily lives, whether we use a motorbike, a car, or a pleasure boat. So sorry, Gianni, to say that.
Yes, but there is a problem that if all this sport will enter in the Olympic program, after, I think that the Olympic will last 3 months. It's not possible to 3 months.
Well, you need to talk with the International Olympic Committee.
And after, with the cost of the gasoline now, I think that is too expensive.
Yes, but that's why we are talking about no gasoline sport. In that case, is electric. Certainly there is a battery, and there is energy within that battery, and we need to ensure that that energy within that electrochemical battery, it's green, and it is certified that it is green. If we want to live in cities which are decarbonized, we need to think about the future of mobility. And the future of mobility is not necessarily just electric, but is also, for example, low carbon liquid fuels, or is also a hybrid solution. And the sport has the obligation to be the lab to test new technologies, environmentally friendly solutions, innovations that will help all of us to have a much better environment and to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. Because if it is true that 80% of the people today lives in cities or large cities or megalopolis, we have the obligation to think about low environmental impact solution.
I think that now you have attract the attention of one of our colleagues that would like to make you a question.
Oh dear, now I'm worried about that.
Because we need the microphone first. Where is the microphone? That guy. It means that at least one person in all the field has listened to you.
But I'm happy about that.
No, it was very interesting. Thank you so much, and thank you, Gianni, for this opportunity. I have a question about not about the sports, about some leagues. We have to make good, relation with the audience, and our audience need to have, reliable news about something, such as some leagues with billions or millions audience, such as MMA. I didn't see MMA here and some other, kind of martial, sports. I want to know if do you start to conversation, making connection, relation between huge professional and famous leagues such as the MMA or not?
This is a very tough question. So I answer you with my usual lack of diplomacy. We have about 15 combat sport already, okay? You help me to name it: karate, judo, wushu, aikido, jiu-jitsu. I mean, okay. If you look at the constitutions of guys, if you look at the constitution of ARIS, one of the main elements is to preserve the rights and duties of the existing members, avoiding as much as possible any possible rivalries. Okay. There are certain basic rules that have to be fulfilled. In order to be part of the ARIS family, we have 55 strict criteria to be fulfilled, whether are environmental criteria, social inclusion, gender equality, very stringent criteria, including, the anti-doping, the WADA anti-doping code, and so far. We have started conversation with MMA. If I translate it properly, is mixed martial art. Is correct? Okay. Mixed martial art, of course. So we are in conversation with this organization because I think that sport has to include rather than exclude, providing everyone will respect and accept the rules. And when you think about fighting within a cage, when you think about fighting with the referees having no boundaries or no limits, this is going to be challenging, okay? So there are certain basic criteria when you think about the fight against doping, when you think about the difference between business and sport. This is key, the difference between business and sport. I am a proud volunteer serving the World Sport Institution. Business is something that doesn't belong to my role. In my role, I need to ensure that the rules are fair and equally respected. And business will not prevail in my personal situation and position. I hope I answered your question. Please say, if microphone. Microphone. You want this?
Spanish. Español, vamos español.
No, claro, bueno, vamos.
No viene siendo lo mismo, pues en Colombia se hizo la segunda edición, se llama...
In Colombia, there has been a second edition of the World Games that include all non-Olympic games. And I don't know if there is a connection with what you were mentioning. Maybe yes, but I'll answer in English.
Are the World Games, which are managed by the International World Games Association. And every 4 years, the International World Games Association, which is an associate member of GAIS, organize the World Games, where largely there are non-Olympic federation and non-Olympic sport, but there are also international Olympic federation attending the World Games. So it's a mixture of Olympic and non-Olympic international sport federation. You need to be aware of that. Multi-sport games, they are mushrooming, as someone says. There are so many multi-sport games. There are, we organize as guys, the first ever in Xusa, you remember well, in Budapest, the World Urban Games, which is a fantastic association of all urban sport, street sport, parkour, 3x3 basketball, BMX freestyle, skateboarding, trampolino. This is an amazing experience, of street sport, which became Olympic later. In Tokyo, we had basketball 3x3, we had skateboarding, BMX freestyle, etc., etc. So multi-sport games is a great platform to showcase not only the Olympic sport, but to showcase what ideally one day will be a part of the Olympic sport. So World Games is a good example of multi-sport games where every 4 years, most of the international sport federation, 90% are AIPS federation, they participate in this big event, which is, as you said, it was held in Colombia as well. And the last edition was just a few months ago in the United States, in the city of Birmingham, if you remember well. So welcome any multi-sport games, welcome the platform not only for the large international sport federation, but also for small federation and for not yet Olympic sport.
And now we must pay attention. If not, he is convincing us that we have to have the journalist games for next year, the World Games of Journalists, because I know this guy. Yeah? There are all this. Perhaps we can create a new body, no? World Journalist Games. Again?
This is the last
We
question.
are going out.
This is the last question.
The last question.
No, yes. Yanni, sport journalist, America.
In Colombia, yes, I know, in Europe not, but I know that you are organizing already the games. So now, I think that it deserves an applause because many of you didn't know what was AIPS or not. And there is something that we have to give him to remind this night.
Thank you so much.
Official pennant for you.
Okay.
Congressman.
This is the check. Normally, to athletes, you give the check with. So this is my check. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And after we give you this, you have no more hand, is no problem.
Thank you so much. Can I say just something? Well, let me drop this. Because why I accepted with pleasure and honor this invitation. And I would like to thank all of you for this opportunity, simply because I believe that your activities are fundamental in divulging, in promoting, disseminating the real values of sport. Sport is a fantastic means that can break any kind of barrier, that can talk to the heart of the people like anything else can. And when Friday I had the opportunity to meet Pope Francis, and I shared this with...
the photo of Pope, where is the photo of Pope?
I shared this profound emotion when you talk with such a person, and he said, we need to do whatever we can, to bring sport, to bring a ball in the peripheries of the world. And this is something amazing. And I told to the Holy Father that this would not be possible without the work that your 10,000 journalists in 160 different countries of all 5 continents, they do. And these 2 gentlemen here, they are the ambassador of what you do. And I accepted with great pleasure this invitation because I do believe that you do something which is fundamental in promoting the real values of sport, social inclusion, sustainability, and uniting in the diversity. Like in this room, we can see with 110 different nations attending this conference. From my heart, thank you so much for this lovely opportunity.
Abbiamo mancato una foto, eh? So now, after this part, we go to speak about the young generation. I want to show you something first, what we are doing with the young reporter, because after with us, there will be two special young reporters. One is Vlad, and the other is Rita. Two different words, two different experience, very special. For Vlad is the war. For Rita is the war against poverty. So now, can we see our thing regarding your reporter first? I think that we are still finding a solution. No, it's not this. The one with the PDF, sorry. We are not organized, sorry. We have tried a lot of proof, but we didn't succeed. Sorry. I hope that with the election we will be better in counting the vote. It was the first time we were together in 2011 in Shenzhen, in China, during the University Games. And in that place, there was the girl that will come after, Rita. And there was, between the people that were the mentors, there was Evelyn Vata with us, no? Do you remember? Oh, you don't remember? You are too old now. Yes, I know. There was also Roslyn Morris, that is here with us, and after a lot of young guys. After this is the situation, I think that I have to move so you can read that we have had 50% men and 50% women. We were in front, when we look what IOC is always speaking, we were already 50 and 50 years ago. These are from where are coming our young reporter. It's a great map. After this is about AIPS, you know already, I can go. The mission of sport cooperation between associations. Young reporter program that we have kind of masters on the field for the new generation of journalists. I think that now our technology, I think that is completely over because I cannot move. Sorry, guys, I can only tell with the words because we made a lot of this young reporter, but today we have decided to give the floor to two of them. The first is Vlad, that was with us in November last year in Lausanne. We went to FIFA, we met a lot of top people, and 3 months after, he went to the war. Now, I think that with Riccardo Romani, that was one of our mentors, we will speak about the human part. What is happened to a young guy, that what is changing his mind, what he have to recover in the future, because it's something really, really important. So I leave the place to Vlad and to Riccardo. No, this is not the microphone. Non funziona, dopo ti diamo. Porcaccio.
From there. Good afternoon. Is my mic working? Yes, good. What? Good afternoon, everybody. So many familiar faces. I'm very happy to be here with Vlad because this is a great opportunity for a bunch of journalists from all over the world to have a first-hand story from someone that is on the field, which is not easy. Looking at what we read on the news every day, we don't really know what's going on. Now we have a reporter, a young reporter that I met last year in Lausanne, that he's gonna tell us a few stories. I'm gonna make a short introduction regarding the fact that as people, I'm talking about myself and everybody that lives in the Western world, the idea of a war has been very remote for many years. It's been something that we see on the news, usually attached to some dusty place, Iraq. We see wild animals, African turmoil. But starting on February 24th on TV, and then personally myself, when I went to Ukraine, we realized that the war was hitting shopping mall, a refined restaurant. The war is now in our territory. We could ride a car tomorrow together, and next day, lunchtime, we could be in a war zone. And this is a wake-up call for the Western world that really was overdue, because every war should be our war. But this is very close. So close that someone like Vlad, we met last year in Lausanne, was a very promising young reporter, someone who, we had disagreement, Vlad?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. I remember Vlad one day in class say, Mr. Ricardo, I disagree with you. And I was very happy, because when someone has an opinion and he disagree with me or with Martin or with Kier, this is a start of something. It's like a newsroom. It's a conversation with ideas. And I think Vlad was very good at this. Then, February 24th, our life changed a little bit. Now we realize that we might have a difficult winter, because we might not have enough gas. So we hear the war is very close. But for Vlad, and I want to start from there, life changed in a way that nobody could even fathom until a few hours before. So, Vlad Dunayenko, thank you for being here. Big applause for Vlad. Vlad.
Only one moment. We prepare a very nice video that unfortunately was forgotten. Today, nothing is going well, okay? So we are experiencing, it's the first time that we make a prelude.
But this is the time when the video comes on, yes, because I'm introducing Vlad, so the time is good.
Yeah, but there was another image behind you. This is the problem.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
This is why we have an art director here.
Yes, I would like to be...
Is the video ready?
Antonioni, yes, thank you.
Is the video
is ready, we can go. I hope that is ready.
Yeah. No, you can stay.
Oh, you want to see? Cesar is working. You have to tell that this is what he has written.
So can I tell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I tell?
Yes. First of all, this is based on what Vlad has written in his post. We were able to follow him. But you want to say something about the music, do you?
Yeah, it was so dramatic music that I have like ants on my skin, and I have a feeling like I am from a movie with superheroes. But you know that we always imagine superheroes like Schwarzenegger or Stallone. Yeah, but I am the simple guy. But situation today is that in Ukraine we have like not the movie. It's our life, and today we speak about sport, and sport it's big part of our life, yeah. But today the war is also the big part of our life, and life is one, and it's solved, and it's mix of many of parts of life. So today it's why we need to talk about that and discuss about that, and thank you. I'm really happy to be here today because it's really different to be here today, because a few days ago I was on front line, but today I am here, and I saw many of colleagues, many friends with whom I was in Lausanne, and thank you for this opportunity to be here, to be on this stage, to be with my lovely mentor. So yeah.
Thank you, first of all. So let's go back to February 24th. Thanks, good. You mentioned also, we discussed a little bit before about some other country that experienced. You want to say something about like places like Iraq? There are places in the world that now you feel you understand better what they're going through, trying to be in sport, trying to be athletes, trying to be journalists while something so terrible happened. But let's go back to February 24th. What happened on that day emotionally? Did you know right away that you would be on the front line? How was the process, your decision-making process? Go back to that day.
Yeah, at first I want to express support and express respect to all countries and nations who are fighting for their freedom and who show us their bravery on the battlefield, on information newspapers at all. So if we go back to February 24, I was on work. I was in Spain, where Ukrainian national team of basketball play with Spain national team, and I was like a reporter on this match, and I go from home on the 22nd February. But on this day, we have a speech of one man, and
name it for now.
yeah, it's no name for him today.
For now.
Yeah, and life was on, like on balance, and I thought that okay, I need to go on. I need to do my work because life is go on, and we go to Spain, and on February 24, we have this match in the evening, but our morning starts from different news, from phone calls from my mom, from my dad, from many news in all world newspapers that war is started. But I want to point that war started more than 8 years ago.
We go back. Yeah, this is an interesting point. How you jump on the next question? So, how were you prepared? Because there was 8 years ago in 2014, there was the first part of this operation invasion by the Russian in Crimea. They ended up quickly. But I've been in Ukraine, and this is one of the reasons why I'm here. I went there covering the war, and a lot of people told me they knew that sooner or later would happen. Is that true? Is what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I will continue in with stories because I was born in Lugansk. It's on the east of Ukraine, where war is more than 8 years ago. But in 2014, I was so young. I only entered my school, and I only tried to choose what and who I want to be in this life. and I choose the journalism. And all these 8 years, we think about that life has changed, and right, even you don't feel this war in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, or in another big cities. It's not seems like you don't feel it inside. Yeah, because I have discussion with my father before this trip to Spain for basketball match, and we have conversation about it, and we promise each other that we will go together for this war, because it's like our mission, like men, like people who like their country, their nation, and who like the life. Because
So what you're telling me that before the invasion, you made a promise, a pledge with your dad. If that happened, eventually you would go together to fight.
yeah.
Okay. So you knew that it might happen because the signs were there.
It was like in the air.
Okay.
It was like in the air. So back to 21st February, yeah, in the morning when we read this news, the first mind that was in my head, that I was nervous about my family, because it left in Ukraine. I have a phone call to them, and that all is okay. After that, I write to all our chats with young reporters, with sport journalism, and ask about support that we need to cover with this information all the world. We need to write that Russia invade in Ukraine. So, and I really grateful to all people that they support me
There was
and
support from
yeah,
the
yeah.
young reporters in Lausanne. I know there was a chat that there was.
Yeah, I really felt in it, because I have, after these many interviews and texts about this situation, and these texts and interviews, did my colleagues from Lausanne and from AIPS college, and these relationships, these friendships really helped me in my life, and I hope that in their lives too. So yeah, and after that, I have many conversations with journalists, because many journalists of Spanish TV and newspapers, they come to hotel where live Ukrainian players, basketball players, but no one of them come upstairs to have conversation with journalists. I don't know why. Maybe they was terrified, maybe was shy, but I'm not so brave at all, but I understand that now is the moment when I need to tell all the world, and in this situation to Spain, that in my country is catastrophe. So after that, we went to the match. It was match not about sports result. It was, I think that in every player's head was only minds about their home, because their families was in Ukraine, and right, we go by bus together for this game, and I saw like every of player have phone calls to their families and ask about all is okay, please wait, after the game we will take you to Europe, or maybe I will go to Ukraine, like this. And the sport result in this game wasn't important. Yeah, and right after this game, I go by myself from Cordoba to Madrid, and the sky in Ukraine was closed, so I can't go by plane right to the Kiev. So I have a long road from Madrid to Budapest, then from Budapest by train to the border. The border I can't go by foot, so I need to catch the car. I catch the bus to Uzhgorod, it's city on the west side of Ukraine. After this, I go to Khmelnytsky, another Ukrainian city, and from Khmelnytsky, I went by train to Kiev. And in Kiev, right from railway station.
How long did it take?
Yeah, and right from railway station, I go to my father to military base. I wasn't at home.
How long did it take from Cordoba to your dad? For how many days?
I think it was 2 or 3 days, but yeah, but every minute you on messengers, on phone with family, with friends, and you see that in your phone, you in this that you see, but you want to take part in this because from railway station, as I said, I go to military base. I wasn't at home. All my shorts, t-shirts was with me, but it was winter in Ukraine and it was really cold. I need some military stuff for me, and I think that's the day of 20 February, 24th February. It's day of United for Ukraine because our neighborhood, they think that in Ukraine they can come and bring that they want. But
anyway, I think the tale of those 2 days of Vlad deserve an applause, because those 2 days, Vlad, you put us in the situation of running home where the war is starting, trying all your means, train, walking, and that was a great journalistic tale, actually, which reminds us that you are a journalist. And then you went to the front line, you show your picture on Facebook, we look at the pictures. Who's this guy? It's the same Vlad that was arguing with me, with whom I don't want to have an argument anymore, of course. But fear. Did you fear anything? What about fear? And I'm asking the guys to put the Vlad presentation, Andrea, so you can put the presentation.
yeah, at first, I want to say about decision to go on the front, because as journalists, I think that all of us, we always fight for freedom of word, that we can write or tell everything that we want, and nobody can ban us for this. And the same situation, we fight for freedom, but this freedom, like on the ground, it's this freedom, you can touch this freedom, you can feel this freedom. And I prepare a little presentation. This presentation I make like in train when I go from Ukraine. And I can say that now trip from Ukraine to Rome, by my feelings, was like this trip from Spain to Ukraine before.
But there are peace here. You are in peace here.
Yeah. And it's surprising for me because I saw many pretty people. They are smiling, and it's good feeling inside me. Yeah, and on this presentation, I can show that. Yeah, it's the same man,
It's the same Vlad before and after. But again, the posture you have in that picture, it was very impressive. And I really, my question, and in anybody here mind, is the question is, you went to this, what is your duty with your dad? With how much fear, what emotion prevailed in the first place? Because I know freedom is your main drive, and you've done everything for that. And this is, but you need to deal with your emotions.
I think that what about emotions? When you in business like this, in business like war, you need to have no emotions, because emotions are driver about war. If people don't have emotions, these ugly emotions, I think that we don't have war. So I make my work because now it's my work. Of course, I want to back to journalism. I want to make news, to make interviews like it was before. But now this is my work. And my new skills, it's like about medicine. I never was medic. If be honest, I have biologic. I hate anatomy, but from the war I need to make new skills. And emergency driver. When my father tried to teach me in driving, it was not easy, I can say. Yeah, but now I am really like Formula One Driver, yeah.
You can drive through the Rome traffic like
Yeah,
this. Yes.
no, I
it's
will
great.
show you after Congress how
Yes.
to do in Rome, so it's not problem, yeah. But about emotions, it's difficult to describe. I think that people don't have these words to describe this. But every day I have I think not about me. I think about family at first and about people who I see every day in this territory of on Ukraine. Because now when we liberated territories and you see people who was more than half a year by occupation, and they have tears when they meet you, and you understand that it's not easy and it's not. Mm,
It's war.
Sorry, yeah. It's difficult to say about this, but we need to talk about this, and
Yeah,
we need
need.
to describe
Exactly.
it,
We need.
because I think that's the most people who is today here, they're happy because they never see this situation in their home, and as I say, I really respect to people who see that and who continue fight for their freedom.
I think this is one of the reasons you're here. You're bringing, as I said in the beginning, first-hand recount of what's going on, and who better than you can give us a sense of what's going on. So this is the before and after. I'm going to move into this page, and because of course there are a lot of sport journalists involved on that, and someone in this group of people you want to talk. There's a nice story about it. I think was it Victor? Or
Yeah, about
is Victor. But this is Vlad. There are many people. I've seen people in Odessa and Mykolaiv that they had business, they left their business to be part of the army. And so this is a common thing that tells you a story of a country that is really united about this mission. But tell about Victor. It's a nice story about Victor.
At first I can say that I am not the only one who fight on this front of freedom, and we are millions, and this I think that these faces you can see on sport arenas, on boxing rings, like Denis Berinchik, it's famous Ukrainian boxer, and on the next month he will box. Yeah, Yuri Vernedub, it's a coach who won with Moldavian Sheriff Real Madrid.
In Champions League, yes.
Yeah,
last year.
in Champions League,
Yes.
but now he fights not with Real Madrid. He fights with occupation and with our neighbor.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw like Dmitro Pedruchnits, world champion in biathlon, and many sportsmen. And why I want to tell you a little story about Viktor Ozhogin. He's
64. You
64 years old, this man, but he made special fake documents on 10 years younger, 54 years old to go on the war, because we have like a rule that after 55 you can't go, it's not your business, you need to go home and take care about your family, go on the work and like this. So this man to protect his
he lied on
country.
his age to be able to go fight. So it's a brave man.
Yeah, and a week ago, Victor was injured on Donbass near the Liman. Now it's small city in Donetsk Oblast, but now in all news around the world, the name of this city, I think
Because
that's
it's an important city. It's a kind of a connection city. It's small, but it's
for us. Every city is important.
okay.
And
So, thank you. We're gonna go to the next page, but I want to ask you. I wanted you to be going back This is a sad page of your presentation. When you first went around the front zone and you only had the information from your smartphone, whatever, what did you see? What is the thing that you saw that made you feel like, okay, this is real, this is really happening?
The first, I think that it was on the border, Hungary with Ukraine, when I saw how many people go from Ukraine, because I see that they was terrified, because maybe they don't think that now 2022 and this is 21st century. Okay, now we have Tongo, we can speak, we can make communication, and I think that that was the first, that terrifying. And continue to this presentation and to faces that you see on the screen and people who was on the screen before. These people are happy because they can continue to protect their country, but these people, and especially this small girl that you can see on the start of this slide, they can't, and they can't take part in sports competition. They want, but they can't because Russian missiles and Russian bombs killed them, and not only them, Russian soldiers, because soldier is strong word. Soldier is a man who protect their country and protect people at first. So now for all world, I think that Ukrainian and all people who come to Ukraine to help us, they soldiers, and that Russian we can't say about them. So I choose only 3 stories because they all are different. And for example, this small girl, Katerina Dyachenko, she was only 11 years old, and she was gymnastics. And I hope that she maybe will be the world champion or Olympic champion. But
Very promising.
yeah, but maybe I hope that in the world know about Mariupol. Mariupol maybe it's the biggest injury on our hearts in Ukraine, because percent of this city was she died after this with all family. The second story is Evgen Malyshev. He was the biathlonist, and he was also young, 19 years old. And he, as me, as many Ukrainians, go to Ukrainian army to protect people. And he was killed near Kharkiv. To understand, I am near Kharkiv too, now on the front, but we are now go in front and liberated our territory. But he was protected near this city. He was killed by Russian troops.
And in Irpin.
Yeah, and the last story that I choose today, it's about Alexei Junkivsky. It's boxing children's coach. He was not young, but he was really ambitious because he teach a lot of people and a lot of sportsmen, and many Ukrainian boxers was in his gym. And what is symbolic that he was killed in his gym. He made his gym for civilians who want to hide from bombs from Russian troops. He make beds and he make a place where you can eat in his gym. And when Ukrainian army go to Irpin, it's near the Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. So it's really near. And he found him in his gym, and he was killed in back of his head.
And 39 years old is a young man. You said he's not young, but so
And
just to make sure that
it's
very
what is important.
Yes.
It's only 3 stories, but we have more than 100 stories with sportsmen, with coaches, with journalists, and it's only people who are near us, our colleagues and men and women with whom we can take interview. But you can only imagine how many people are with them. Also in Mariupol, where we don't know how many people
Yeah,
was killed, but
but
it's
let
near
me-
100,000.
Vlad, it's a horrible thing. And I'm going to take you before we going to the end of this to a subject that I know it's very important for you. And I want to start with this picture that I took thanks to Alex. Where is Alex? Our man in Ukraine. I was there in last April, and thanks to Alex, I was able to meet and interview Igor Belanov. Igor Belanov is, everybody knows that is a Ballon d'Or winner. And he's a nice guy that used to be playing for Soviet Union. So he had a lot of Russian teammates. And I asked him, why Igor, did you talk to your teammate? They were playing together. There must be some friendship going on. And Igor told us, no, they didn't reach out. There was no conversation. So you, as a journalist in sport and as someone that meets sport athletes, you would expect a Russian sport athlete to do something, to say something. And I understand that you are disappointed by that. Are you?
I can say it that at first, when all this was start, of course we was waiting for something. We waiting for words. We waiting for steps, because it's not normal, and everyone understands this. And okay, we meet them on tournaments. We meet these colleagues on different congress, on different like in Lausanne.
Events.
Yeah, on different events. And of course, we wait from them on something, but it was nothing. At first, it was nothing. They called demos, and we understand that, okay, it's our business. We don't start this, but we need to end this. And it's interesting point that said our president, Vladimir Zelensky, that, okay, if Russia will end this war, the war will end. But if we stop the war, Ukraine will end. So now, of course, we wait, because understand, we Ukrainian people, it's people who like another people. We like to speak with Italians, with Spanish people, with people from Africa, from Asia, because we are all like, we are on the one stage as well. But when someone come to your home with minds to kill you, it's difficult to describe with words. And another one.
You heard today Mr. Seferin, the president, that says that no Russian team will be allowed to play until this is over. And you agree with that? I mean, do you think sport is always being that place in which sometimes you can? Do you think there is a chance to use sport or not?
Okay, we always, and also in Lausanne, in Olympic Museum, where we have excursion to this museum, we said that sport is peace, sport is united all people. And as you remember, my video from this museum was about that Olympic ideas. It's about united. Yeah, but now I think that it's difficult. But sport and war, it's they are matched between. For example, I have a chevron on my uniform with my favorite football team. It's Dynamo Kiev, and it's something that helped me with emotion, with good emotions on this on the battlefield, because I can look maybe a little of Ukrainian national football team, about volleyball team, basketball team, because now we have a good results. But at first we need to end war, and after this, of course, we can speak about something.
About maybe in the future, you see, using
Of
sport?
course, because we all look in the future. The future will be, but
We need to end
how
it.
how this future will come and where this future will be. So we need to work about this.
Yes, and this is a very, we all hope that to happen soon. We have few minutes left. I want you to go to this page, which is a little bit of
Yeah.
light note.
Yeah, because today we talk about serious teams, and it's like in this team, but it's not the meme when we want to joke. It's like on a Russian broadcaster they show their people the sport. It's Andriy Yarmolenko, famous Ukrainian player, and when he played in West Ham in Europe League, and scored the goal, but on Russia broadcaster we saw the man who take the hot dog or cheeseburger, I don't know, but it's look appetit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yarmolenko goal, but they say the guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Was this guy on this stadium or this photo is from
But
another
this is
stadium?
what the Russian TV show. They
Yeah,
say.
and it's what about we said on AIPS college about in Lausanne that we need to check, we need to fact checking.
Exactly. So we at least AIPS serve the purpose. Check the sources. The guy was a fake.
Yeah, the next.
And this is interesting, and we're gonna end up this talking about how sport is used to make some kind of propaganda. Gianni Merlo made a very interesting story on our AIPS website about Lucinski Stadium, who for one day became a symbol of Putin narrative. You know, this is important.
You said this name. We have the promise that we don't.
At the end, it slipped on my tongue. You know, is the elephant in the room. So you prepare the presentation to explain what? How sport entered the war, and this is the Russian side, your neighbor's side.
Yeah, and before this, I said how sports can help me, that I have a positive information, and we always said that Politica is out of the sports, but on these pictures and in our life, that I'm pointing that all that happened now in our world, it's our life. And they use sport to propaganda war. And as you say, in Luzhniki Stadium, it was like from movie, but I can't describe this movie. It's like catastrophe. It's a terrifying movie. And the stadium in Volgograd, we know that now letter Z, it's like symbol on of new Nazi. It's like Racism. Racism, it's new word, but I think that many people know about them. And
do you remember when we said last year in Lausanne, you think, guys, you are sport journalists. There is no such a thing as sport journalists. You are journalists. Sport is just part of what you cover. And this is a perfect example how sport plays a role into war. Is that correct? I mean,
yeah, and one more example is how they use. And on this picture, we can say that on a hockey match, they make banners with these letters that are symbols of the war.
And this is the last that we're going to see today. No?
The next.
We have another one with the sport
in Ukraine.
In Ukraine. But anyway, the last picture that maybe we're going to be able to see was from this presentation before. Here we go.
Yeah.
And this is a very important thing. But I want to use this to end up this conversation that I hope you enjoyed in a positive way. I know it's difficult, but this is how sport venues are now. And we are in need of reconstruction. This is how sport looks like in Ukraine. You want to say something about this? I know.
Yeah, I can say that you can look that on the other side in Ukraine, they don't choose this is military base or it's training base. I know that Shakhtar is famous team in Europe, in the world, and many European and world teams play with them in Champions League and friendly games. But for example, Missile in the pitch on their training base, it was new swimming pool, because swimming, we have many swimmers in Ukraine who are famous in the world. Yana
Your
Klachkova.
Ukrainian team, the female team for aquatic, they came to Italy to train. They became world champion. So
Yeah, because we can train at home in Ukraine, but you can look that what's happened with this swimming pool. And I respect for every country who help us with not only with sports, with our people who situated now in their countries. And Irpin Stadium, Irpin, it's small city that we said near Kyiv that was the most destroyed in this war. And I think that when we talk about war, about sport, that sport it's always emotion. And I always said that I can't write about tactics, about scores, about something else, because for me sport is always emotions, and these emotions too. But it's another side of these emotions. Of course. And on the last slide, can you click, please?
we don't have more. I have last one. We're gonna wrap up with the message you want to give. You're gonna be free to give your message.
No, I want to say that I prepare a QR code, and everyone who wants can look on these pictures and full base on their phones.
Yeah, we're gonna have a share it later. It's something you want to explain what is the QR for the audience, and then because as the last thing, please go ahead. I'm gonna share it later briefly with all the is a QR which is connected to what?
This QR connected to this presentation, of course, yes. And to base. We prepare with my colleagues from Ukraine free base, and first base, it's base of Russian sportsmen who support the war. We always said that sport is peace and sport unite, but in this situation, we have bad example. At the first, on the second base, we have full names of Ukrainian sportsmen who was killed and died in this war, and it's Olympic champions and world European champions. And the third base, it's of destroyed Ukrainian infrastructure with stadiums, with swimming pools.
So it's a campaign to raise awareness on these three topics.
Yeah, this free base, and I will be grateful that if you want to share it and to show the world and your countries this information. Yeah.
Andrea, we can show briefly that when we wrap up, if we're able. If not, we're gonna share it with all the members in their phones or put it on the website. I want to end up with the last question for you, for the audience. You're gonna spend a few days in Rome, have fun. I'm gonna give you some good advice. And then you're going to go back to Ukraine. What do you hope, what do you expect for the next weeks? Even looking at what's going on in the news, the last moves, the fact that you have liberated a great part of what was controlled by the Russians. What is your hope as a journalist and as a soldier?
And like men. Like simple men and simple Ukrainian. Of course, all our hope were only about peace, about about people. Because why the war is terrifying? It's because people died. Of course, you can have a conflict about maybe territories, maybe buildings who held the prettiest building, but when people. I want these people go for football matches or basketball matches on sport competition. I don't want that they need to hide in their homes. And now when I will go to home, and on 10 October, I need to be on front line in Kharkiv region. And only my hope that all this shit will end soon. And we do all for this. And after this, I want to every one of you visited Ukraine and we will be happy to meet you in our country, and we will share with you all that we have. But now we continue our fight, and we need your help.
Okay, let's stand up and let's have an ideal appointment meeting date with Vlad all together in Kiev sometimes very soon. Big applause for Vlad Jurayenko. Thank you very much. I'm going to share the QR for their campaign later on, but we'll do that. Thank you. Grazie.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Vlad. Thank you all. Now we are continuing with our young reporters after this very interesting and very hard story. We will have a story about a young reporter named Rita Aliguma.
That many people want to go out, or because I think that also this is important, or we postpone to tomorrow, or we stay here. Let me know.
No, we will stay here. Please stay here.
No, I go. If not, I go. Sorry.
No.
Till now, I have tried to be very quiet because I have problem with people that were positive for COVID that are protesting and so on. Now, if people like to stay here, because I think that is an important thing, we stay here. If not, we postpone tomorrow because it's 15 minutes that we make tomorrow. Sorry if I am so rude, but I need to be rude sometimes. Sorry? We will see during the day, during the presentation.
Anyway, I have to give you some very important information. I'm sure that a lot of us would like to see Rita today. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning,
with my colleague.
continental sections, very important for Europe, Asia, and America, not so important for Africa, because there are elections, and please be there. Europe will be here. Africa will be in Maxi room, the next one. America in Macro room, and Asia in Madre room. So please, 8 o'clock, Europe, this room, Africa Maxi room, America Macro room, and Asia Madre room. Please, 8 o'clock, mate everything you have, because on 10:55, we will continue our Congress with or without you. Thank you very much. Until tomorrow.